Okay.
This is the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Ante Leela chapter 5. We heard about Kamalakant and Sundarananda, their great glories. And now Vrindavanas Thakur is glorifying Gauridas Pandit. Does anyone know who Gauridas Pandit is in Krishna Leela? I believe he's Subal. Gauridas Pandita Parama Bhagyavan Kaya Manovakya Nityananda Janra Pran.
Descends ou toujours. Descends ou descends. 5 minutes. Donc, quand deux, c'est calme.
Dale, basta, Domi.
And 50 meters, and then he takes out a close-up lens on his camera, and he says, oh, what I want to feature about this person is not their whole form or not the car they're driving. I want to feature their eyes. So then the camera just takes a picture of their eyes. So he wants to feature one extraordinary quality of this Gauridas Pandit, although there are many, so many. He says that Nityananda was very special to him, very, very special to him. How special? He was pran special. He is his prananath. He was his very life air. If you can't separate the pran from our very existence. If we separate the pran from our existence, we exist no longer in this body. Because the connection between the atma and the body is pran. So when the pran is gone, the body is gone, and we go somewhere else and collect some pran and atma and chitta and enervate another body in the womb and start again. So this Nityananda was his pran. Nityananda was his life and soul. And he accepted Nityananda with his body, mind and speech. Kayo Manovakya. So this is what we call full acceptance. Sometimes people verbally accept someone, but not with their mind and not with their bodies. Yes, I accept, he's my guru. Do you do any service with your body? No. Do you do any service even with your mouth, which you use to say you accept so-and-so as your guru? No. Do you ever think about doing service with your mind, Kaya Manovakya, and even plan to do service? Well, not really, but he's my guru. So this is not very full acceptance of the guru or the mentor or master. But Nityananda was not only his guru, but his friend and his eternal associate. Purandara, so we should say, Gauridas Pandit ki jai. Purandara Pandit Parama Shantadhant Nityananda Sarupera Vallabha Ekant. Purandara Pandit was greatly peaceful and self-controlled. He was extremely dear to Nityananda Sarup. He was Parama Shantadhanta. I guess they go together. Shanta and Danta. This says in the 7th canto, Narada Muni is giving instructions about Varnashram Dharma. And in one chapter he speaks about the qualities of the brahmachari. He says, Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gurorhitam. He says that the brahmachari lives in the house of the guru. Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gurorhitam. And he lives there, Vasa, Gurukul Vas, Danta, and he lives for Guru Hitam. He lives for the benefit of the Guru, for the welfare of the Guru, for the Seva of the Guru. And he's Danta, he's self-controlled. He's self-controlled. The same word is here, Shanta Danta. Danta means self-controlled. And Parama means completely, absolutely, and transcendently also. Because unless one is transcendently Shant and Dant, he can't be Shant and Dant eternally. Because transcendence is eternal, and transcendental qualities are eternal. They're eternally expressed. Not that today we express Shant, and tomorrow we become furiously angry for no Vaishnava reason. Because our egos are stepped on, or something is not according to our liking. Because there are justifications for Vaishnavas to become angry. When another Vaishnava is vilified by a Pashandi or Nastic, or the Lord is attacked or vilified, then one can become like fire. Okay, close it. So these are the acceptable outlets for anger. And an additional one was added by Srila Bhaktisanta Saraswati Thakur. He said yes, when he was asked, Guruji, what can we do with our anger? He said, anger? Because the devotee said, Prabhupada, Guruji, Srila Gurudev, we understand from Shastras that we should use we have anger within us. These things are stored within us due to our consciousness, and they come out. So what to do with them? And he said, well, I know the Shastra says we should defend the devotees from demons and attacks and the deities, but that doesn't happen much. I live in a temple and very few people attack the deities over here in India. In America and the West it happens more often. Crazy people come in the temple and jump on the altar, try to break the deities. I've seen myself. In Berkeley, it's called Berkeley. There's a lot of wild people over there. So then you have to have pretty good, and of course we always had extra protection. In the temple room in general, we always had some Kshatriya devotee type, Kung Fu type, keeping an eye on the temple, especially in Berkeley, with so many crazy people there. We call them crazies. I just said, like somebody would say, his temple commander was his expert karate. Well, he said, yeah, some crazy guy came, some crazies came. I said, did you make them sane? He said, yeah, I taught him how to be more sane. Chastise yourself and don't leave me out of it. So if the shoe fits, wear it. Radhe. So he was Parama Shantadhanta. So if one is spiritually fixed and senses are controlled, then automatically one gets peacefulness. And he was Vallabha Ekanta. He is extremely dear to Nityananda. That's the translation, but we can easily see that Nityananda Srupera Vallabha Ekanta. That we could also say Ek Kanta, Ek Vallabha. He had one beloved. Nityananda Srup was his one beloved. Or that he was the one beloved of Nityananda. The translation, he was extremely dear to Nityananda Vallabha. To Nityananda Srup. Vallabha Ekanta. He was one of the dear ones or beloved ones of Nityananda, or he was the one, or he is. Nityananda is dear to him. So this is, of course, another desirable position for a disciple of a guru, to be Gurudev Vallabha Ekanta, to be extremely dear to the guru. These are qualities of Purandara Pandit, Parama Shantadhanta, and Nityananda Vallabha Ekanta. Wonderful transcendental qualities, to be self-controlled in all situations by being fixed in Krishna consciousness, and being peaceful, again by being fixed in Krishna consciousness and seeing the Lord's hand in everything. When we give up being the controller, then we can be peaceful. Simple as that. Because we realize that Krishna is the source of peace and He's the only controller. Because we realize that Krishna is the source of peace and He's the only controller. Parama Shantadanta. And most of us, especially ourselves, we're not very Shanta, very peaceful, nor are we Danta, self-control in the least bit. What to speak of having these two amazingly wonderful qualities to the topmost extent, to the fullest representation of Parama Shantadanta. Shantadanta. Far from it. We can only pray from the bottom of our heart that Nityananda, you're very merciful, you're Guru Tattva, you're Guru Shakti, you're very kind to the Patita Janas, the very fallen souls of Kali Yuga. So please, you're surrounded by all these wonderful associates that have all these divine and desirable qualities, which I would certainly like to possess, but I don't. So I can pray to Purandara Pandit, who I certainly will do, but he's connected to you, so I'm going to pray to you also. That will you please bless me that maybe I will never become Parama Shantadanta, but maybe Torah Shantadanta. Torah, Alpa, little, tiny, something. I will become a little bit peaceful and a little bit self-controlled by becoming a little bit Krishna conscious. And if I can exhibit some actual attractive qualities and devotional attributes, then I may become Vallabha Ekanta. I may become dear to Nityananda, I may become dear to the devotees, and I may become a beloved of the devotees, and especially beloved of my Gurudev. Nityananda Jivana Parameshwari Das Janhara Vigrahe Nityanandera Vilas. Parameshwari Das Nityananda Vilas. Nityananda was the life and soul of Parameshwari Das. Nityananda enjoyed pastimes in his body. Now that's quite intimate association. I mean, even in the most intimate relationship in the world of Madhurya or conjugal love, where the lovers are quite close to each other in union, husband and wife, we don't find that the husband enters inside the wife's body and has pastimes. Impossible. But in this transcendental platform, Nityananda actually entered his heart and flooded his heart with his full presence of Nityananda Nam, Nityananda Rup, Nityananda Gun, Nityananda Lila, Krita, Nitai Krita, was all going on inside the heart and mind and body of this wonderfully exalted devotee named Parameshwari Dasa ki Jai. Extraordinary. I think we should all repeat the name of these great devotees also. So I'll say Parameshwari Dasa ki Jai. Purandara Pandit ki Jai. Gauridas Pandit ki Jai. Pandit Kamalakanta. Pandit Kamalakanta ki Jai. Sundarananda. Sundarananda ki Jai. So it may seem a little bit childish, this type of rote repetition, and we may be judged as such, but we don't really care about the Vox Populi. We care about the opinion of the liberated souls, and the opinion of our Guru Varg, and the opinion of the Panchatattva and Krishna. And I know they'll hear our chanting and our heartfelt utterances, and that's enough for us. If they reciprocate, it doesn't matter. It's my good fortune if I can even speak their name with this worthless tongue of mine, with this ridiculously foolish tongue of mine that wraps itself around so many thorn-like topics and cactus-like stories to produce so much dribble of dry sand and salty water in the form of prajalpa. If I can withdraw it from those engagements and with this same worthless, wretched tongue utter the name of a great devotee, I'm sure somewhere Krishna will appreciate that. So let's look a little closer put a little tighter lens on our camera, closer focus on Parameshwari Das from the information, although small sutra type of information given in this one verse, we'd like to explore what we can derive for our improvement. Nityananda Jivana Parameshwari Das Janhara Vigrahe Nityananda Vilas. So his life was Nityananda, was life and soul. His very life and soul was Nityananda, his Jivana. When Vrindavan, Nityananda, of course, this is Gaur Leela, and Gaur Nitai were the Jivan, Gaur Jivan, and Nityananda Jivan, Gaur Nitai were the life and soul of all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas as they are today. Gaur Nitai are the Jivan of all of us. They're our very life, and they're our pran, our Jivan. We live for them, and they live for us. They lived for us. They came here and lived for us. Their Jivan was for us. Jivan Sartak. And the purpose of our life is to live for them and to remember them and to serve them and glorify them. Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Nitai Gaur. So this is Gaur Leela, and that's Gaur Dham and Gaudiya Vaishnavas. But if we expand the view to Vrindavan, contemporary Vrindavan, Dham, Sridham Vrindavan, or even in Nitya Leela, Goloka Vrindavan, or Prakat Leela Vrindavan, we find that the Jivan of all the Brijbasis, and the Jivan today of all the Brijbasis, and in Krishna Leela all the Brijbasis, and of Krishna himself, the Jivan of all of them is Radharani. And their songs, the life and soul of Yashoda is Radharani. Everyone is life and soul is Radharani. Hamaro Dhana Shri Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Prema Dana. Prema Dana, she is the wealth of Prem. Hamaro Dana, she is my wealth. Then we say, Jivana Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Jivana Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Hamaro Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Hamaro Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Hamaro Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Jivana Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Jivana Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Prema Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Prema Dana Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. So in Vrindavan, when the Brijbasis, when they sing this small song, then something happens in their hearts and something happens in their minds because they feel in their inner being that their life is Radharani, that their mind is always searching and reaching out and crying for Radharani. So we can understand by that how the Brijvasis feel towards Radharani, how Parameshwari Das felt towards Nityananda. That when he would say the name of Nityananda, we say, Hamara Dana, Jivana Dana Radha. He would say, Jivana Dana Nitai, 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 Jivana Dana Nityananda, Nitai, Nitai, Jivana Dana Nitai, Nitai, Nitai. So Parameshwari Das, he would chant that in Gaur Leela. And when he would chant that name of Nityananda Sarupera, or Nityananda Sarup, or Nitai, then he would feel so much ulas in his heart and so much wonderful peace and hope and encouragement in his mind just by chanting that mantra which linked his very life existence with the lotus feet of Nitai, his Ishtadev. As the Brijvasis feel that similar experience of linking their lives with the lotus feet of Radha when they chant Jivana, Jivana Dana Radha Shri Radha. So this is Nityananda Jivan. And Janhara Vigrahe Nityananda Vilas, his Vigraha, his form, was the Nityananda Vilas, was the pastimes of Nityananda. So this is Nityananda's, the Vilas. We have this expression in the West, oh, he's a walking encyclopedia. But now, and sometimes we would meet devotees, we would say, oh, he's like a walking Chaitanya Bhagavat. He's a walking Chaitanya Charitamrita. And whenever you would meet the person, they would tell you about Chaitanya Leela. I know one person who memorized the Krishna book, one devotee. Word for word English Krishna book, Prabhupada, word for word. And he was known for that. So then sometimes we would be together in the Krishnamala Mandir and we would go to the Jamuna to bathe. And then I said, listen, my friend, my devotee friend, I would like to... his request line is open, I can make my requests for what song I want to hear, top song. I said, we're walking there, can you tell me the story while we're walking? In those days it was a beautiful footpath all the way down there, sort of all just sandy footpath through the Goshala and around the MVT and backside there, and then all sandy paths, all the way sandy, across one sandy path, crossing another sandy path. And going through some gate and going through the Goshala Sandy path and out the Goshala Sandy path and turn right on the Prikamark Sandy path. And all sand. From Jamuna, from Raman Reti, which is all, Reti means sand, from Raman Reti to Jamuna was all sand. Jamuna sand, because that was all, Raman Reti, where the temple today is, in Krishna's Leela, that was under the Yamuna. That was Yamuna. And Chaitanya Vihar was Yamuna Vihar. West Yamuna. It's all under the Yamuna. That's how vast. Because you see, it's all sand. You look at the land, it's all sand. Everything they brought in landfill, but you dig underneath, it's all white Yamuna sand, the same as in the Yamuna. And then, so I said, I'd like to hear Gopi Vastraharana. Krishna steals it because it happened at Yamuna. So we're walking along, and walking, and I'm just listening, all ears, and he's telling word for word the whole fast time. So the person that was like a walking Krishna book. So we can say, if he's can speak about Krishna Leela to such a minute extent, in a perfect way, that means that Nitya, Krishna's vilas is in his body. The pastimes are playing in his body. So when we say the Nityananda enjoyed pastimes in his body, it can mean that Nityananda personally entered his body like Pravesh, and used his body to enjoy pastimes. Through his body he enjoyed pastimes. That's one meaning of it. Or he in the same way that his body became an abode of Nityananda Vilas, that he was either always with Nityananda directly, or when he wasn't with Nityananda, he was only speaking about Nityananda. So anybody who sat with him or heard from him would immediately be swept into the Leelas of Nityananda. Oh, yesterday Nityananda did this, and then immediately they would be Vilas. So this is another wonderful and admirable, desirable quality that we would love to have. To have the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, have Radha and Krishna enjoying pastimes in our body. Our body means what? When we say body, it says vigraha. Enjoyed pastimes in his vigraha. Vigraha means his form. So it can be the subtle body. Generally, when we hear words like body, we immediately take it to the external fingers and toenails and arms and legs and stomach. That's our body. And if we say, who are you? Most people say, they go like this. They don't say, I'm inside my head. Who are you? I'm my subtle body. I'm my mind. I'm mind. No, I'm, like someone says, who are you? Oh, I'm a black man. I'm an Indian man. That's your mind? That's your skin. So generally people identify, you say, who are you? They identify their external physical body, not their mental body. Isn't that correct? I don't think if you open up someone's head, you're going to find a black mind, an Indian mind, Australian mind, American mind, French mind. You open up and it says, made in France. Well, look at that. You open up his head and it says, made in New Zealand. Wow, that's cool. It's not like that. So playing in his enjoyed pastimes in his body, Janhara Vigrahe, Nityananda Vilas, can be in his manasik deha. Deha means vigraha. We can say manasa vigraha. Deha, kaledram, kaya, all means body. That can mean gross body or subtle body. Shikshma shvir, linga shvir. So then it's easier to relate, because if you're doing smaran, Lila Smara, meditating on Nityananda Lila or Radha Krishna Lila at the level of bhava, if you've attained the stage of bhava bhakti, then there's something called Lila Pravesh, where in your mind, while meditating, you actually enter the Leelas of Nitya and Gaur. And then you're enjoying. He's enjoying pastimes because you're in the pastime, you're in your Siddhadeha as a Nityakishore Brahman, and you're moving with Nityananda Gaur Nitai in the Shayan Lila, and you're going to Srivas Thakur's house, and it's evening time, the sun is setting, and all the devotees are gathered. And now Lord Chaitanya goes up and sits on Thakurji's Singhasan. Then there's an artik starts, and you're playing mridanga, and you see Nityananda is dancing in front of you, or you're playing mridanga. So Nitai is enjoying vilas in your body. He's enjoying pastimes in your subtle body. Janhara Vigraha Nityananda Vilas. That's a Bhav Deha. You're in Bhav. And he's Leela Pravesh, and you get locked into that sporty, and it becomes Visporti. So deep and profound that you're lost in that space and that Leela. So why that's going on, why that meditation is going on, who knows? For all intents and purposes, you maybe traveled in your astral body and traveled to another universe. In that deep state of meditation, meditative samadhi, you travel to another universe where the Prakat Leela is going on, where that Shayan Leela is going on, and the Shayan Artik of Gauranga in Srivas Thakur's house on the bank of the Janavatata, Ganga. So this is one way to see this idea. So now taking this back to us and praying to Parameshwari Das, well, please bless us that I don't know when we'll come to Bhav or Prem in what lifetime, but maybe some sprinkle or some few scenes of some Leela will come in my mind, and I'll feel the presence of Nityananda engaging in pastimes in my mind. I'll chant japa, I'm absorbed in chanting japa, and suddenly I capture some scene of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda moving down the street in a Sankirtan party in the afternoon during Uttaragosta Leela. When Krishna is returning from the cows in the afternoon, from the pastures to Nandagram, 3:36 to 6 in the afternoon, at that same time period, then Nityananda and Gauranga are returning from their wandering in all the different villages and wandering and visiting different homes of the devotees and Navadvip, and coming back to their homes, and they're dancing in a Sankirtan performance and playing Kol and Kartal and Singha and so many instruments, and they're chanting, and while we're chanting japa, we see them, and we just get so absorbed, we feel like we're in that kirtan party, and we're chanting also our chanting of japa and our meditation. Our japa becomes kirtan, our kirtan becomes japa, and we're there and we're dancing and moving down these beautiful sandy lanes, and these tropical vegetation on both sides of the lane, and beautiful coconut trees and bakul trees hanging over the roadway, shading us from the afternoon setting sun. And nearby the Ganga is moving so majestically and beautifully and powerfully on to the sea of the Bengal, Bay of Bengal. So this is a brief touching of the pastimes, so we can pray for this. Dhananjaya Pandit Mahanta Vilakshan Janhara Ridaya Nityananda Sarvakshan. Dhananjaya Pandit was an extraordinary devotee. Nityananda always resided in his heart. Dhananjaya Pandit Ki Jai. So let's repeat his name. Dhananjaya Pandit Ki Jai. It's described here he was a Mahant and Vilakshan. Mahant and Vilakshan. There's some further meanings on some of these words. There's an accompanying, in all these verses, there's a footnote that explains how there's an Anubhashya commentary. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, I believe, wrote a commentary on Chaitanya Charitamrita called Anubhashya. And Srila Prabhupada has translated that in his Chaitanya Charitamrita and included it there, woven into his own purports. And in Adi Leela, chapter 11, all these various devotees are given slightly more elaborate description. So we could keep that on deck here to also consult. But anyone wants to read further, let's say that, anyone wants to read further about these devotees that we've been reading about, or mentioning it briefly here, because Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita often cover the same subjects, and sometimes some different subjects, and some more elaborately in one book and more elaborately in another book. So these is all we can find a lot of these devotees are described and more glorified in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 11, text 13 on to 20, 30, like that. 33, 40, 50, like this. We can see more. But this devotee, Dhananjaya Pandit, it's described that Hridaye Nityananda Sarvakshan. Nityananda, at every moment, Sarvakshan, at every moment Nityananda was always in his heart. Which means he never forgot Nityananda even for a moment. Hridaye Nityananda Sarvakshan. He was always seeing Nityananda in his heart, remembering Nityananda in his heart. And this is, of course, that means that if he was always seeing, Dhananjaya Pandit was always seeing Nityananda in his heart and remembering him, that means that conversely, Nityananda was always seeing Dhananjaya Pandit in his heart and always remembering him. This is told also, the same principle is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 30. Yomam pashati sarvacha sarvam shamai pashati. Krishna is telling Arjuna, for one who sees me everywhere and everything in me, I am never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. So seeing everything, seeing Krishna everywhere means seeing him in your heart and always remembering him. And if whatever you're seeing, whomever you're seeing in your heart and remembering, then you'll see the same person outside and wherever you go. Dhananjaya Pandit had this type of heart. At every moment, his heart was with Nityananda, never separated. We can pray for this also. Our hearts have many cameo pictures in our hearts, and many lockets. Lockets, something people were hanging around their neck and put a little picture inside. We have many lockets hanging on the throat of our heart. Pictures of various people that have trooped through our lives. Relativities, various relativities impinging on our sojourn in this body. Relativities coming in the form of mother and father, brother, mundane teachers and friends. So they often haunt the inner reaches of the consciousness. in times of peace, or in times of solitude, one can be amazed at who comes out of the dark. What kind of spooks, what kind of spooks are in the closet, and what kind of spooks are in the closets of our mind? Oh, what's that? Who's that guy? Where'd you come from? I haven't thought of you or seen you for 50 years. Now go back in the closet and don't bother me at the time of death. When you die, then all the closet doors are open at once. All the spooks come out of the mind at once to spook you and catch you and hook you. The spooks come to hook you, take you off into forgetfulness at the crucial time. So he was Sarvakshan. At every moment he was remembering Nityananda. Nityananda always resided in his heart. We can pray for that Prabhupada will always reside in our hearts. It'd be a lot to ask for Nityananda to always reside in our heart, or for Radharani or Sri Krishna Shyamsundar. Well, who are we and who are they? We don't have much adhikar to invite them into our hearts because they only live in clean hearts. And you see the example in Mother Devaki. She had to pass, she showed some example that our chitta, or consciousness, had to process some various undesirables. It was, of course, a very extensive leela involving a demon and his 6 sons, Kalanemi. And Kalanemi's 6 sons, they took birth and were killed by another demon. The demon's sons, Kalanemi's 6 sons, used the medium of Devaki's womb to be extinguished, which was part of their destiny. And they were extinguished at the hand of another demon named Kamsa. And each of these 6 demons represented undesirables. Namely, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Matsarya, Mada. They represented the poison coverings of the conditioned soul that cement him and bind him in the firmament of the material world. Lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, madness. These are the sons of Kalanemi. So Devaki could not bring Krishna through her consciousness, or manifest Krishna in her consciousness or womb or heart. Hridaye Sarvakshan, at every moment, like our Dhananjaya Pandit was experiencing moment to moment in his heart, in his chitta, in his mind, the presence of Nityananda, because his mind was pure. So I mentioned that it's difficult to get Krishna and Radha to always live in our heart and mind, or Nityananda because our hearts and mind are not pure. An example is Devaki, who had to process all these undesirables by annihilating them. And then she became, and she's an example, of course, she's a Nitya Parishad, but she's an example for conditioned souls. If they want to have Krishna reside in their hearts, or manifest or appear in our hearts, then they must be a proper, pure sitting place for the Lord to manifest. And before he even comes into the material energy, first the material energy must become spiritualized. So material energy becomes spiritualized by the presence of Sandhini Shakti Balaram. So Balaram came after all these material undesirables were eliminated. Then Balaram manifested as the 7th child in the womb of Devaki, Sandhini Shakti. He established the holy Dham, because Balaram is the holy Dham, to serve Krishna, to give an existential plane for Krishna to enact his Leela. The existential plane, the Dham, existence, the place, the locale. So that will happen. So to get to the point of having Nityananda and Gauranga and Radha Krishna in our heart, we have to go a long way. But I'd rather take it from the lower end, that I would pray that become Hridaye Prabhupada Sarvakshan. That moment to moment, Prabhupada or our Gurudev, or our well-wishers, whoever they are, would be in our hearts like Dhananjaya Pandit. So we can pray to Dhananjaya Pandit for that blessing. So we can at least, let's say not at least, let's say at most. If we can do that, then the other remembrances and possibilities are, the other fortunes are great, are possibilities. If we can always remember Guru, because Guru brings Krishna. Krishna brings us to Guru, so we find a way to Krishna. Krishna leads us to Guru, because that takes a few million births. It takes Krishna a few million births to lead us to Guru. And he says, okay, here, I'm going to park you here. Now Guru will take you to me. Guru will lead you to me. And it takes another million lifetimes for Guru to lead the conditioned soul to Krishna. And Nitya Leela for eternal service and position there. At least we've all been favored by that initial leadership of Krishna to bring us to the lotus feet of our saviors and spiritual mentors. Now what else about Dhananjaya Pandit? He was a Mahanta Vilakshan. And the English says he was an extraordinary devotee. Well, that could be Adbhuta Bhakta, or so many things one could say. Wonderful, extraordinary. Adbhuta Bhakta. Amazing, extraordinary. Adbhuta Bhakta. That's what amazing devotee means. But it doesn't say that. It says Mahant Vilakshan. So Mahant is a particular term. And Mahant means in charge of an ashram or temple. A Mahant. He's the end of all great people, the limit. So of course Mahant means someone that's a great soul, but we have a term Mahatma. Mahatma is generally used across the board as some great personality. But Mahant is specifically used, at least in the Vaishnava circle, of someone who's in charge of a mat, a temple. He has a temple, he has a spiritual temple, an institution, and he becomes recognized by other great spiritual authorities as being a competent and capable, influential spiritual leader. So he's given this title of Mahant. I would tend to think that this is what Vrindavan Das Thakur's intention is, that he's a Mahant, that he's not just an extraordinary devotee, but he's a leader among devotees, and he must be in charge of some institution or temple and mat also. This is my assumption, not having further information in front of me, but taking the word for face value, what it means. Then it says Vilakshan, Mahanta Vilakshan. So these two words are simply translated in English as extraordinary devotee. A Mahant has lots of meanings. The Vilakshan has a lot of other meanings also. Laksha means, as you know, means characteristics, attributes. We had that verse in Nectar of Instruction about the 6 characteristics or attributes of love. You know that verse? The Dati Pratigrinati Bhunkte Bhojayate Seva. Guyam Akyati Prithyati Sadguna Priti Lakshana. You know this verse? Sadguna, 6 qualities, Priti Lakshana. These 6 qualities or activities or interactions are the characteristics of Priti or love. To give gifts in charity to devotees and receive gifts in charity from devotees. To give Mahaprasad or Prasad to devotees and receive Prasad or Mahamahaprasad from them. And to speak confidentially to them and reveal your minds to them and hear their confidential words. And also to speak, it also means to speak confidential topics. Bhajan Rahasya Katha, because this is actually one of the greatest ways to distribute the characteristics of love, is to tell someone sweet something. Tell a devotee something sweet about Krishna. In the material world, they discuss when man and woman are together, they're in intimacy, they're talking sweet nothings. They're talking sweet nothings. But when devotees come together, they should say not nothing, but say something sweet about Radha and Krishna. Not sweet nothings, but sweet somethings. Our motto is, don't speak sweet nothings to your girlfriend, but speak something sweet to the devotees. Of course, that wouldn't be printed. But don't waste. We could say, don't waste your time speaking sweet nothings, but spend all your time speaking sweet somethings. Then the third line, about Radha and Krishna and Gaur. So this is Lakshana. The characteristics of love is to... Alright, we give prasadam to devotees and we give some gifts to devotees. And that's nice, they appreciate it. It's momentarily and maybe beneficial. What is the most beneficial gift? I want to express my love for you, Prabhu. So I'm going to give you this new chadar. Oh, thank you, that's wonderful. I didn't even ask you, I didn't think, but you're so kind. I'm going to express my love for you. I just went to Jagannath Puri and brought back all this Mahaprasadam. What you big basket. So giving gifts, giving prasadam, this is the Priti Lakshana. But what now it says revealing your mind, speaking confidence, revealing your mind, speaking in confidence. So people think, generally people read nectar instruction, they think that means, hey Prabhu, come here. I want to tell you something. I want to tell you a secret. It's confidence. I'm taking your confidence. Don't tell anybody. Do you know Krishnadas? Yeah. Well, Krishnadas, he's married to Chaitanya Dasi, right? Yes. Well, Krishnadas, he's like, as another friend. Acha? Let's go somewhere else and talk private. This is not confidential talk. This is confidential prajalpa. This is nonsense. But actually, the greatest form of priti is to tell the devotees about Krishna. Tell the wonderfully intimate and beautiful topics, according to the adhikar of the devotee, about Radha and Krishna and Gauranga Nitai. This is the greatest expression of love. To fill someone's mind, you can fill someone's belly with Mahaprasad, that's wonderful, it's encouraged, we should do it. And you can cover another devotee's body with a wonderful gift of clothing or kurta, sweater, sari, etc. And that's wonderful, we should do it. But the best thing, the best way to express love, and the greatest gift we could ever give, is to fill the devotee's ears, rather than fill his stomach and cover his body. Fill his ears with the sweet topics about Radha and Krishna. Or to engage in sweet Madhura Kirtan or Madhura Bhajan. Because this is life. Vibration, sound vibration gives life to the soul. And the soul is what is the living principle, although the body requires its maintenance. So Vilakshana, this devotee, Dhananjaya Pandit, had Vilakshan. Lakshan means, V means Vishesh, means he had many exceptional qualities and attributes. It's not told which ones. But maybe he had this quality, this exceptional Lakshan of Priti that I was describing. That whenever he met the devotees, he would always tell them something sweet about Gauranga and Nityananda. Because he was an extraordinary devotee. So an extraordinary devotee means one is always talking about Radha and Krishna or Gaur Nitai. And generally those type of devotees are rare to find. Because most devotees usually those are the Niskinchan sadhus or the Bhajanandi sadhus who don't have a lot of weight on their head of preaching and helping others. So sometimes people think that the Bhajanandis or the Niskinchan sadhus are the most advanced, and many times they are, because they don't have anything else crowding their hearts or minds. They don't have to put their mind or hearts into anything except their bhajan. And it reflects when they speak, as we were discussing about one devotee the other day. But then, if you see some devotee, like one of our GBCs or gurus, they say, oh, he's not very often speaking sweet topics about Radha and Krishna or Gauranga. He's speaking this management and this festival and this. But the one devotees will say, oh, I met this very advanced devotee, he's always talking about Radha and Krishna. But our devotees are always talking about book distribution and temples and festivals. They're not advanced. Sometimes a neophyte can think like that. But he doesn't understand the actual situation, because it's easy for every devotee, every true devotee is a bhajanandi. Every true devotee is absorbed in his own inner development of bhajan. But if he accepts the burden, it's the same thing Haridas Thakur argued. What's better? when he was discussing about manasik jap or uchasik jap, do you chant silently in your mind, as is often prescribed in many Vedic literatures, not everywhere, but many places, or is it better or more auspicious to chant uchai out loud? So then Haridas Thakur challenged the Brahmin who was challenging him. He said, is it better to chant you chant alone in your mind, or is it more beneficial and better to chant out loud and benefit so many other living entities? And he used an analogy. Is it better to feed yourself and be happy, or is it better to feed yourself and feed others? Obviously, one gets much more recognition who feeds himself and feeds a million others. In the same way, as far as recognition and acceptance and promotion and blessings from above, by the Lord, one who accepts the hardship and the turmoil to preach to others and to guide others and befriend them and soothe them and calm them and pacify them and engage them and rack his brain to solve their problems and engage them in Krishna Bhakti. Although he looks like he's not speaking the sweet Madhura Katha moment to moment, but he is so near and dear to the Lord. And Krishna says that in Gita because he can say whatever he wants to Arjuna in Gita. Arjuna, listen. He says anyone who preaches his sacred message to the devotees is very dear. So he's saying preach the Gita to the devotees. But he's talking about preaching. So this message of Bhagavad Gita is also Sambandha Gyan and Avideya Tattva and Prayojana. It's not just sweet Kunjalila. So in the course, a Bhajananandi or Niskinchan will only speak about the intimate, not the intimate, but say pastimes Radha and Krishna. He won't so much speak about Sambandha Gyan. So he was an extraordinary devotee, Mahatma Lakshana. So we can pray that we can develop these wonderful qualities of Dhananjaya Pandit. And tomorrow we'll hear about Balaram Das. Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Antikanda chapter 5, we're continuing with the wonderful glorification of the eternal associates of Lord Nityananda, being done by one of his all other eternal associates, Vrindavan Das Thakur Vedvyas. Vrindavan Das Thakur, and we heard about Dhananjaya Pandit yesterday, that he was a Mahant Vilakshan, extraordinary devotee with exceptionally wonderful qualities and characteristics. And the primary characteristic that made him such a great and extraordinary devotee was the fact that Hridaye Nityananda Sarvakshan, moment to moment, Nityananda was residing in his heart. And that's certainly a desirable attainment. Lord Nityananda, Sarvakshana, moment to moment, at all moments, to be fully present and manifest within one's heart by remembrance, by nam, by instructions, by seva. Now we're going to hear about Balaram Das. Prema Rase Mahamata Balarama Das Janhara Vatase Seva Papa Jayanash. This is Antya Kanda chapter 5, verse 734. Balaram Das was intoxicated with the mellows of ecstatic love. Prema Ras Maha Unmata. So he was Unmad, Mahamata. Mata means mada. Mada, when it's combined with other words, becomes T. D becomes T. Matta. Now he was intoxicated. Intoxicated means he was mad, he was crazy, he was beside himself in a great proportion, Mahamata. And what happened was that rasa means liquid. It's a rasa. If you drink too much liquid, particular liquids, you go a little mad. If that particular liquid happens to be scotch or brandy or whiskey, and you drink too much, because whiskey or liquor is also a ras, it's also a taste, a liquid, a flavor of liquid. And that liquid is imbued with particular qualities which create a type of insanity or intoxicating quality where one loses connection with his senses. And the essential balance and reality, and acts like a drunken man. So this is one form of ras, which is jada ras. Jada ras is the ras which is produced from this material energy. And everyone is intoxicated in this material world, intoxicated by false conceptions and false identities and false aspirations. What people are aspiring for are all the results of intoxication. And who people identify as is all results of intoxication. And what people do is all intoxicated activities. The whole material world and everyone in it is intoxicated with jada ras. But Balaram Das was intoxicated with prem ras unmata, mahamata, prem ras. He was intoxicated with the mellows of ecstatic love. So he wasn't stumbling along the pavement like an ordinary rasa-filled, whiskey rasa-filled drunken person. But he was absorbed in love of God. He forgot everything about the material world. And the ordinary materialist, he maybe acted in a rather unusual way because he was always engaged in Krishna service. In the beginning of ISKCON, when Prabhupada was preaching and devotees were seriously taking up Krishna consciousness in the Western countries, people thought we were crazy. And they tried to arrest us and have us analyzed by psychiatrists and psychologists. Even one mother and father of one devotee in Caracas, Venezuela, Prabhupada went there for a visit. So that father hired a famous psychologist from one university in Venezuela to come and cross-examine Srila Prabhupada and reveal that he was a crazy man. And this is in Lilamrita also, Caracas. So then they called in this very expert, famous professor of psychology, and with so many books. And so he met with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada tied him up in knots. Prabhupada actually made him sound like a babbling fool. He sounded like he was demented. He had definitely lost his screws, his brain screws. And he wasn't able to touch anywhere near Prabhupada's exaltation or to penetrate Prabhupada's pure Krishna consciousness, have any effect, or even able to carry on any dialogue. He had a whole set of questions which he would use to analyze and dissect Prabhupada's brain and mentality, and thereby draw the conclusion after his investigation through the conversation that the founder of the Krishna consciousness movement was simply a crazy man and making everybody else crazy with Hare Krishna mantra. But in fact, Prabhupada revealed that that this psychologist should go see a psychiatrist because he came looking like a crackpot crazy man himself. So he was totally frustrated in his attempt to unveil or reveal that Prabhupada had some problem. So this Balaram Das is intoxicated with the mellows of ecstatic love. And so powerful was his prabhav, because love, of course, is the most powerful force in the entire world. Mundane material love moves the world in a lot of ways. People love power, they love money, and because of their love for power and money, the world moves. And various people try to influence others because of their love for power, distinction, control, money, lordship. They love it. But their prabhav is simply their association, and their prabhav and influence keeps everybody in a cycle of birth and death because they're all non-devotees. But this devotee, one devotee, Balaram Das, was so powerful and so influential and so pure and so ecstatically enraptured with divine love that Janara Vatase Seva Papa Jayanash. Janara Vatase Seva Papa Jayanash. That the breeze, the Vatase, Vat means Vata, like Vata, Ayurvedic Vat. Bengali is like Sanskrit. Janhara vatase savapapa nash. Simply the breeze that touched the body of Balaram Das would destroy all sins. Savapap. Now that's some serious power. Not one sin, or a handful, or a collection, or even a kuta. Kuta means a mountain. Anukut. So there's papakut. It's one of the 4 stages of sin in the chitta. The aparabdha, prarabdha, bijam, and kutam. So there's kuta. Kuta means a hill, or it's a stockpile of the bijams. It's a whole other discussion we've given already. Tapadarsha. So he was, he had such prabhav that the breeze coming from his body would destroy all the sins, not just a small hilak or a kuta of sins. Now that's a powerful cyclone. Sometimes a breeze comes to off the ocean, they create typhoon. You've heard of typhoon? Or in English they say typhoon, in Hindi they say tufan. But Balaram Das was so pure, and it was just waves of love and waves of purity were flowing from his body. Chanarvitasi Seva Papa Jayanash. Jarunatha Kavi Chandra Prema Rasamai Niravadi Nityananda Janhare Sadhai. It's another wonderful devotee. Let's mention him, Balaram Das, so he can maybe intoxicate us a little bit, and we're not asking him to bless us with the power that the breeze from our body will destroy anyone's sins, but we would like the breeze from his body. We would like to beg Balaram Das to blow some of your breeze my way, and may you be so kind to destroy my sins. Balaram Das Ki Jai. You can say it. Balaram Das Ki Jai. So let's hear the wonderful glories, or specifically wonderful glories of Yadunath Kavichandra. Yadunath Kavichandra Prema Rasamai Niravadi Nityananda Janhare Sadhai. Yadunath Kavichandra was filled with the mellows of ecstatic love. Nityananda was always merciful to him. So there's this slight tweak of difference between Balaram Das and Yadunath Kavichandra. Mind you, all these devotees we're hearing about are the eternal associates of Lord Nityananda. And of course they're all Premi Bhaktas and eternally in love with Radha and Krishna and Nityananda and Gaur. But they each have a specific aspect of their exaltation which is being noticed here and pointed out. They're all Prema Rasa Maya, basically. But then some had different. One was Prema Rasa Mahamata, Maha, greatly, completely, in a very complete way, maddened with Rasa, Prema Rasa. So that's one thing. So many of them have Rasa, some are mad, some are not so mad, some are partially mad in Prema Rasa. But now what's his extra thing? His extra thing, because all basically the common denominators, they all have love, Prem, Ras, no doubt. It's not that many of them don't. But he's mentioning that, he was specialized in that. But then he was Balaram Das. Balaram means power, spiritual power. Balaram. And his power was simply you know how powerful these devotees are? It's simply the breeze from Balaram's body with Sarva Papanash. You say Papanashanam or something like this. Bhakti Vignan Manashanam, the Sringa Bhagavan. So any of the vignas that they're destroyed, the bad obstacles and impediments are destroyed by remembering and praying to the Sringa Bhagavan. Kavichandra, Yadunath Kavichandra, he was Prema Rasa Maya. So he was Maya, filled with, saturated with Prema Rasa, mellows of ecstatic love, as the other one was, mellows of ecstatic love. Now what was his speciality? Nityananda Janhare Sadhai. That Nityananda was always merciful to him. So the specifics of that mercy that he received, and that must be more elaborated in his larger biography, which we don't have before us. But he was a Kripapatra, Nitai Kripapatra, the recipient of the mercy of Lord Nityananda, and we certainly want to be that also. Because if Nityananda is always merciful to us, as he was Sadhai, Niravadi Nityananda Janhari Sadhai, Sadhai means all the time, always merciful to him, and if Nityananda is always merciful to us, then very soon we'll come to the platform of Prema Rasamaya. We'll become saturated with Krishna Prema, Bhava and then Prema. As it's told in Narottam Das Thakur's song, Nitai Bine Bai Radha Krishna Paite Nai. And Radha Krishna, having Radha and Krishna means having Prema Ras. Prema. Prema Purushottam, Sri Krishna, and Rasamai Radha, Rasavati Radha. So when we say Prema Ras, it means Radha and Krishna. Prem, Krishna, and then Ras is Radha, Rasavati. And Prem Purushottam, they say that, Prem Purushottam, Sri Krishna, Chaitanya. Prema Ras. So this verse saying, Prema Rasamaya, Niravadi Nityananda Janar Sadai, Narottam is saying the same thing, Nitai Bine Bai, hey brother, without the mercy of Nitai, you won't attain Radha and Krishna. And when a devotee attains Radha and Krishna, then that means he's Prema Rasamaya. He's saturated with Prema Ras. And that Prema is Krishna and Ras is Radha. Radha Ras, Sudha Nidhi. Nidhi means ocean, treasure. And Sudha means nectar. A nectar ocean of Ras. A nectar treasure house. A treasure house of nectarian rasas. Srimati Radharani ki Jai. Yadunath Kavichandra ki Jai.
Yadunath Kavichandra ki Jai.
Yadunath Kavichandra ki Jai.
Yadunath Kavichandra ki Jai.
All good things should be said 3 times, so we said thrice. Me, you twice. And even their names are so wonderful. Yadunath, the Lord of the Yadu dynasty. Who is that? Krishna. Who is Kavichandra? The moonlight poet. Chandra, one of the Kavis. The greatest moonlight poet. That would be, of course, the parrots of Vrindavan. They're extremely poetic. Let's hear another devotee. Jagadisha Pandit Parma Jyotir Dham Saparshade Nityananda Janradana Pran. Jagadish Pandit was the abode of great effulgence. Nityananda and his associates were his life and soul. Parma Jyotir Dham. They often have these. You go to Rishikesh in Haridwar. We lived there in 81 for some few months, 8 months or so. Preaching center from Krishna Balaram Temple. 3 or 4 brahmacharis. We were living in Lakshman Julan Road. And Rishikesh, near the Ganga, having class every evening in Hindi. And people were coming from the neighborhood, having kirtan. And there are many ashrams there because Haridwar and Rishikesh is the abode of yogis and jnanis and mystics and devotees, Vaishnavas, of more Mayavadi type sadhus. Shivananda ashram is there in Rishikesh. Of course, he's Mayavadi. And many of the ashrams and the guest houses are called Jyotir Dham. Jyotir Dham. You must have had Jyotirgama. Tamasimam Jyotirgama. You must have heard this phrase. It's from Vedanta Sutra. Tamasimam Jyotir Gama. Gama means move. Gamana. Vrindavan Gamana Lila. Going to, like a yatra, going to Vrindavan. Tamasimam. My ignorance should be replaced. I should come to the light. Tamasimam Jyotir Gama. The Jyotir Dham, Vrindavan Thakur makes a distinction. He's not simply Jyotir Dham, because Jyotir Dham means Brahma Suyuja Mukti. The Brahma Jyoti. You've heard of the Brahma Jyoti. The Brahman effulgence of the Lord. Brahmano hi pratishtam. Krishna says, that Brahman effulgence is pratishta. It's established by me. It's with me. I've established it. It's part of me. It's my Jyoti. It's my aura. Also, God has an aura. We have auras and colors, different colors that expand on two sides of our body and around our bodies in shells or orbits depending on our health and different organs. So we have an aura also. So the Lord also has. But we are part and parcel. Our radiance or energy field expanded from our body is called aura or shadow. God's has no shadow, but the aura or the energy field, spiritual particles of Atmas, Amshas, expanded from the body of Mahavishnu, they are called the Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is made of millions and millions of Jiva souls. Explained in many places, but in Krishna book. Because that's all that's expanding from Mahavishnu is Jiva Shakti, life particles. Particles of life, particles of consciousness, millions of them. So that collective mass of expanding jivas is the Brahma Jyoti. That's why they say we fall from the Brahma Jyoti. It's not we fall from the Brahma Jyoti, we expand from Mahavishnu. And then, and that plane, that Tatastha range, as floating in a Tatastha, it's just like if you're swimming or something, there's two boats, well you can go and latch onto one boat or another boat. So the jiva's floating in that ocean of consciousness called the Brahma Jyoti. On one side is the Maya Jagat, solid terra firma. On the other side is the spiritual firma. So somehow he's just floating there as he expands from Mahavishnu, as that particle, jiva, part of that particle of light. Then he goes, that light particle comes here, gets a gross body. Light particle goes there, and merges with all the other light particles, and stays there with the Jyoti. So that's Jyotir Dham. But he's called Parama Jyotir. He's a very high form of Jyotir Dham. Because it says that he was the abode of great effulgence. Parama Jyotir Dham. And what made him so effulgent? Nityananda's associates were his life and soul. Saparshade, Nityananda. Nityananda with his eternal associates, Saparshad, they were Dana Pran. They were his wealth and his very pran. So when one's life heirs and his wealth, the wealth of his life, is made of nothing but Krishna and his associates, then he becomes very effulgent. Parama Jyotir Dham. He becomes a Dham of Parama Jyoti. He becomes a Dham of the most brilliant effulgence of the presence of the Lord and his associates. They say, there's a verse in the second canto, it says, Bhavad Tirtha, that verse about the Guru, says that wherever he goes, he makes a holy place. Because he's carrying the Lord in his heart. So this is the same idea with Yadanath Acharya. This is first canto 13:10. It's a very nice verse because it's used in context of Vidura. When Vidura, the brother of Duryodhana, I believe, returned to the palace, he had gone on a tour, all the holy places, and he met Maitreya Muni and also Uddhava. And he returned. Then he was glorified by King Yudhisthira because he preached that Vidura is the brother of Dhritarashtra, and he preached to Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra didn't want to hear it. So I guess Vidura, and Duryodhana became angry and told Vidura to get out of here. So Vidura grabbed his bow, walked out and left his bow by the front door, which means I'm renouncing my Kshatriya Dharma, I'm taking sannyas. I'm leaving this family, I'm leaving my brother, Dhritarashtra. He's been ill-advised by his demoniac son Duryodhana. I no longer want to associate with him. He won't listen to me. Bhavad Vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhutta Swayam Vibho Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani Swantak Stena Gadabrita. My Lord, Yudhisthira is greeting Vidura. My Lord Vidura, devotees like your good self, Bhavat Vida Bhagavatas. We say Chatur Vidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada, means 4 types of. Vida means types of, categories of, groups of. Chatur Vidha, 4 types of foodstuffs, like sak, chewed and drunk. So Bhavat Vidas, Vida, groups of Bhavads. You're a Bhagavat. You're certainly. And what are you? You are Tirtha Bhutta Swayam. Swayam Bhagavan means directly, you yourself are Bhagavan, the original. So Tirtha Bhutta Swayam, you are the actual personified holy places. Devotees like your good self are holy places personified. How so? Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart. Swantak Stena, Stan, situated, placed, located, Swa Anta, inside of you. Swa Anta, inside, Antaryami, super soul, goes inside. Swa Anta Stena, situated and located within us, and within you is Gadabrita. Gadabrita means the brother of Gada. Gada means one who carries a club, that's Haladar. Keshavadrita Haladara Rupa Jaya Jagadisha. This is Dalji Balaram, Gada. Gadabrita means the brother of Gada, I believe. Or means he holds the Gada. What does Brita mean? I don't know. He simply says personality of Godhead, but Gada means club. So it means the carrier of the club or the brother of the one who carries the club. So it's simply translated personality of Godhead. And we say Chakradhar. Chakradhar is the one who holds the chakra. Say Padmadhar or Kamaladhar. He holds the lotus also. So you're carrying the Lord in your heart. You turn all places into places of pilgrimage. So this is the situation with Jagadish Pandit, that he was Parma Jyotir Dham, because he was carrying Nityananda and all his associates in his heart, his pran. Pran means heart, means consciousness, means life airs, it means existence. So his dhan and his pran, his wealth and his very life and breath, was none other than God in the form of Nityananda and Nityananda's parishads. So that transformed his body in an ordinary, from an ordinary, dull piece of lifeless matter, without any effulgent or transmitting qualities, light transmitting qualities. The presence of Nityananda and his associates in his heart transformed his body into a jyoti. It became a body of light. Parama Jyotir Dham became the abode, the holy abode, the Tirtha Dham. It became the holy abode of Lord Nityananda's associates, because he was always glorifying them and always carrying them and remembering them and serving them in his heart. And that made him extremely effulgent. Parama Jyotir Dham. So this is a good way to get the glow of health. And somebody's healthy, that they have a glow. Not that they have shiny, oily skin like many people do, which is okay. It's great in a dry place like India or North India. But some people, even without oily skin, they're just, because they're healthy, they have a glow. Even their dry skin is glowing. And that's physical, material health of the physical body. But when a healthy soul is also very effulgent. Prabhupada said, when the devotees came to me, they were all dark-faced. They were tainted and colored by the mode of ignorance. I gave them a pallor, a dull look, a fainted look, jaded look. But then when they contacted Gulabjamins, they started to shine like Gulabjamins. And their faces took the shape of Gulabjamins after a few months in ISKCON. They became a little roundish type. And they were happy. They were glowing with the happiness of bhakti and the happiness of serving Krishna. And people would remark, "Oh, Swami Bhaktivedanta, I met your devotees in the university. They were glowing. They were very bright-faced and effulgent personalities. What is your secret?" Prabhupada said, "I have no miracle. I have no secret. They're simply serving God with pure hearts and sincerely. And Krishna is pleased. So Krishna is manifesting as effulgence in their hearts and minds. So they're reflecting that to the world. And this is the contribution of devotees." The devotees are lighting up this world. Otherwise the world's dark. Demons are dark and dastardly creatures. Demons are dark and dastardly creatures that simply want to spread darkness everywhere. Pornography, rape, robbery, cheating, pollution, exploitation, exploiting nature, killing, murdering animals, everyone. All dark activities, demoniac civilization. So much darkness in the world. So each devotee is like a small firefly. Each devotee is like a small firefly or glowworm of bhakti. You see these fireflies. We call them call them glowworms. A little bug that flies around on summer nights and at nighttime, and he has a little tail light, a little green phosphorescent something or other in there. And it lights up like a little light, like an airplane when he's landing, these little blue lights going toot, toot, toot. So there's little lights going on the backside. You ever seen? A little tail light, very safety conscious bug. He doesn't want any other bugs running into his trunk of his new car. So he has this little blinker on the back when he's going down. Be careful. And they're giving some light, not much. So devotees are like that. They're like that. They're like little glowworms. And they're blinking. They're shining rays of Krishna consciousness into this dark world. And when they all get together and have festivals, then they really illuminate in a big way. Festivals are so illuminating. So much illumination is created by Vaishnava festivals. The Kirtan festivals and Prasadam and Mancharak, all these different arrangements we have to spread Krishna consciousness. So much light is created by these festivals that illuminates the hearts of so many people, that many people come out of the darkness. Tamasi Mam Jyotir Kaman. They come out of the darkness after attending one of those festivals, and they surrender to Krishna Surya Samamaya Ahandakar. They surrender to the light of Krishna consciousness, and their lives become brilliant, pure, peaceful, and blissful. This is a result of festivals. We've had the experience in the West that after holding a big festival, oftentimes several devotees would join. You may remember also in the olden days. Why does that happen? Because somehow there's so much darkness, no one can see that they themselves are a devotee, or they can recognize it, nor can anyone else notice or see that they are a devotee floating in that sea of darkness of conditioned souls. The darkness is so thick, we can't see their firefly light. No one can see their glowworm tail light. But when the festival comes and all the devotees get together in the massive cooperation and kirtan and prasad distribution, lecture and drama and plays and cultural events, it sheds lots of light. Brilliant sun of Krishna consciousness. So at least in that immediate area, that immediate city or country, very effective. And after the festival, then it's like the sun rises and it's daytime, and so many wonderful things happen in the daytime. Then the sun sets and all kinds of evil spirits and ghosts and prates and demoniac personalities move in the darkness and create havoc and destruction in the evening time. When a festival comes, it's like the sun is rising on that city or that area. And everybody gets illuminated and gets benefited. Then again, after the festival is over, then again darkness settles over the city. No one joins till the next festival. It's very common. Have you seen other festival? At least those that live in temples. You're grihasthas, you don't know what's happening with temples. Who's coming, who's going. You're just home and go to a festival. Okay. We see it's very tangible. You temple president and no one's joined in 6 months, and then it's Janmashtami, and do your best to make a wonderful, illuminating, and educational, enlightening festival, spiritually entertaining. Then, sure enough, some people move in, even the same day, right after. It's been seen everywhere, worldwide. So how is that so? That's because of Parama Jyotir Dham. And each devotee is a Jyotir Dham himself, and when many of them come together, it makes it Parama Jyotir Dham. The entire spiritual world descends in that particular place to illuminate the dark corner of Maya. That dark corner of Maya becomes illuminated by the presence of many devotees serving and performing Nam Sankirtan and preaching Krishna consciousness. This is Jagadish Pandit. He is such a devotee. His life and soul were Nityananda and Nityananda's associates. So we can have we'll continue tomorrow. Jagadish Pandit ki
Jai.
Jagadish Pandit ki Jai. Jagadish Pandit ki Jai. So we can pray to Jagadish Pandit now and tomorrow and every time, all the time. Please fill our minds and hearts with Jyoti, with Prem Jyoti, with that light of Radha's love, with the light of Prabhupada's love, with the light of Krishna's love, and the light of Gauranga's love, that transcendental Parama Jyoti, so that we become an abode, we become a dham, we become an abode of compassion, an abode of devotion, an abode of mercy for the others. And we can also pray to Jagadish Pandit that Nityananda and his associates become our dhan and our pran. Tomorrow, hopefully by the mercy of Vrindavan Das Thakur, we'll hear about Pandit Purushottam and other devotees like Kaliya Krishnadas, Dvija Krishnadas Mahashaya, Sadashiva Kaviraj Purushottam Das, Mahesh Pandit Udarana Datta, Gangadas Acharya Vaishnavananda, Raghunath Puri, Manohar Narayan Krishnadas Devananda, Jiva Pandit, Paramananda Gupta Mahashaya. There's many great heroes coming down to appear on the stage of our minds, and we'll hear about their wonderful glories. Today we heard about Balaram Das and Yadunath Kavichandra and Jagadish Pandit. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chapter 5, Antya Lila, the continuing discussion of the wonderful glories of Nityananda's eternal associates. And yesterday we heard about Parameshwari Das and Dhananjaya Pandit and Balaram and Yadunath Kavichandra, Jagadish Pandit, Jyotir Dham. Now this devotee we're hearing about today is another Pandit, practically in all cases the associates of Nityananda and Gauranga were all Brahmins because they are also Brahmins. They're both the sons of Brahmins. Nitai's father is Harai Pandit from Ekachakra, and Pandit Mishra, Jagannath Mishra, was also a Pandit, the father of Nimai Pandit. So these are all the glories of these Pandit Brahmins, eternal associates of the Lord. And it's told that in the Shastras and Gaudiya Vaishnava literatures it talks about the dual sarups that one may have or one may attain by desire. To have one form in Krishna Lila, one form in Gaur Lila, the books of our Mahajans, our Gaudiya Mahajans are telling us, although it's not universally presented by all, we don't so much see this idea in the writings of 6 Goswamis about, but it's kind of an obvious conclusion that the Lord's pastimes are eternal, so his servants and associates must also be there, and aspiring sadhakas who want to enter his Leela and serve him eternally, there must be some facility for them to attain a suitable sarup to serve and assist the Lord in his Gaur Leela. So the subsequent acharyas after the 6 Goswamis, they often discuss this concept of having a sarup in Gaur Leela. Whereas the 6 Goswamis, they talk about the Manjari sarup and Madhura Bhav, Braja Bhav, or possibly a Sakha, a friend of Krishna's. These are the two general positions that have been presented. Although Lord Chaitanya came to savor and relish the Charabhakti, Braja Charabhakti Ras, and he was relishing all those rasas through the means of, or through the association of his mother and brother and friends, etc. But primarily the sadhakas in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, they all fall in the line of Gopi Bhav or Manjari Bhav. And there are few exceptions where someone follows the idea of worshipping Krishna and Balaram, and there are some few scriptures describing that and a few lines of parampara which one can align himself with, if that is his heart's position or his aspired for body. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur and others, several others, have described that one can also attain and be awarded, given by the Lord, a form in Gaur Leela. And when they give descriptions of those forms, that they say that one should meditate on oneself being a Nitya Kishore Brahmin of Navadvip, 13 years old, 13, 14, and the eternal Navadvip Leela of Lord Gauranga. So in Lord Gauranga's Leela, he doesn't take sannyas in Nitya Leela. And there's Astikali Leela of Gauranga, there's no sannyas, no puri, and traveling in South India. Because there's only Nitya Navadvip Dham, Navadvip Mandal. And so there he's always a young person. He's married, he has 2 wives there. In the spiritual world, he has 2 wives, Vishnu Priya and Lakshmi Priya. They're his eternal associates. And all of his associates that want to be his servants, they're Brahmins. So it's quite appropriate when we're reading about Gaur Leela of 500 years ago that we're hearing all about the Brahmins, especially. And we ourselves can also be one of those servants of the Lord in his Leelas, and having a Kaishur Brahmin form. So we're hearing about all these Brahmins, and so Brahmins are very much part of Gaur Leela. This is Pandit Purushottam. Pandit Purushottama Navadvipe Janma Nityananda Sarupera Mahabhritya Marma. Pandit Purushottam took birth in Navadvip Janam. He was a confidential servant of Nityananda Sarup, Mahabhritya Marma. He was a Britya, of course, means servant. Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasabhya Britya. There is one supreme controller, Sri Krishna, and everyone else is his servant, Britya. So he's a Mahabhritya. He's a very, very great and wonderful servant of the Lord. And it says he was a marma. I don't know, I guess marma means confidential servant. But marma also means humorous. It means joking. The word marma means humor or joking. So I'm not sure if that's long A or short, but the word, similar word, maybe you can, I don't know if you have a Sanskrit dictionary, but it says Mahabhritya Marma, that he was a great servant of Nityananda, So he's fortunate. Let's examine the specialities of this particular associate. He was born actually in Navadvip Mandal, and other associates in Nityananda were born in other parts of Bengal, East and West Bengal, East Bengal, what we call Bangladesh now, and other parts of West Bengal. So not all of them were born specifically in Navadvip. And there's some verses also in Chaitanya Bhagavat. It says that the followers of Gaur Nitai took birth in different countries, and then they came together to join the Lord's pastimes in Navadvip and also in Puri. Many went to Puri, not all. So he's one of the fortunate ones. He's a Dhamvasi. He was born directly in the Dham, Pandit Purushottam. And he has these qualities of being a great servant. He's not talking about his Parama Jyotir Dham or his Prema Rasa Maya or his Prema Rasa Maha Unmata or his Nityananda Jivan or his Nityananda Vilas Vigraha or his Nityananda Vallabha Kanta, or it's not saying he's Parama Shanta and Danta, and not saying that he's Parama Bhagyavan, and that his prana is Kayo Manavakya and prana is all Nityananda. It's simply saying he's a servant. He's a great servant. That itself is a perfection. Whether one has the qualities of Shanta and peacefulness and Danta self-control, or he's effulgently decorated with mellows of love of God. Obviously they are. They're eternal associates. But what the author wants to emphasize here is he was the servant. And that itself is a perfection, to be a servant of the servant of the servant. Generally in the material world, people aspire for the highest position. They want to be the top or the best or the leader or the winner, the controller. That example we've given before from Prabhupada's life. It's so nice to remember one spiritual master. I find that invariably my thoughts turn to Prabhupada with some anecdote that's relevant to the subject matter. So for Prabhupada-friendly audience, they would probably appreciate hearing that, gentle reminders of Prabhupada on a regular basis. I know I do. So the point we're discussing is that in the material world, everyone wants to be on top. They want to be the best and get the topmost position. And here's an example of that from Prabhupada's life when he went to Tokyo to negotiate with Dai Nippon printing press about the Bhagavatam printing. Then he sat in a long oval-shaped table with 15 executives, Japanese executives. And they all introduced themselves one by one to Swamiji, Srila Prabhupada, presented their card and said, I'm Director of Publications, Toshi Shushikawa, and I'm the CEO, my name is Fuku Fikifako, whatever their names are. And they gave their different cards. I am head of this, in different departments. I am in charge of binding, and they had all the in sales. And so they gave the cards, were all stacked up in front of Prabhupada. They took a ceremonial Japanese bow as they came next to Prabhupada and offered their card. Swamiji, this is my card. And then the CEO stepped out to discuss some crucial dealing about the money with some of his financial department heads, and it left some of the lower echelon leaders there remaining at the table that were simply involved with the actual production, not the finances. So it's the chief executive officer, the owner of the company, and his financial people, they stepped out for a private session and left Prabhupada alone with the lower echelon leaders of that company. So then Prabhupada, he asked them, he said, listen, I want to ask one of you, how long you've been working with this company? And he says, 5 years. And they said, what is your goal? What is your goal in life? What do you desire? What are you aspiring for? And then he got up and he walked over to the stack of cards. And he looked through for his calling card, his introduction card, and he took it out and he put it on top. And he said, Swamiji, I want to be on top. I want to be on top of this company. I want to be the in charge someday. That's my hope and dream. If not here, then with my own company in the future. So this summarizes the whole material world. Everyone wants to be on top. Top dog. So what's the glory of being a top dog? Who's below you? If you're the top dog, that means below you there's the lower dogs. So you're the top of all the dogs, but still it doesn't exclude the fact that you're a dog, simply running after the bone of the material enjoyment. Now let's look at the devotee in this comparison of the aspiration of the materialist wanting to be the master. He wants to be the master controller. Master control switch. They have on some computers or whatever, machines, the master control switch. Master volume. So we want to be the master, we want to be the master, the controller. This is the general scenario and modus operandi in the material world and society and business together. Now if you look at this society, the Vaishnava, the Rajasabha, Vaishnava Rajasabha, Vaishnava Rajasabha, the assembly of Vaishnavas, the aspiration and the desire is something different. They don't want to be on top. They don't want to be the top dog. They want to be the bottom dog. In fact, they want to be dogs. They want to be the dog of their spiritual master, and they even sing about it. They want it so much. They want so much to be a lowly, humble dog sitting at the door of their spiritual master, waiting for a scrap.
Damodara Shiva Shari. Oh, Ramadavanga, Shri Krishna, Jaya Ramani Sarana, Priya Damodara Shiva Shari. Oh, Ramadavanga, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Jaya Radha Shyam Sundara, Shyam Sundara. Jai Radhe, Jai Radha Shyam Sundara, Radha Shyam Sundara. Jai Radha, Jai Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Vatsala Sri Gaura Hari Vajabhakata Vatsala Sri Gaura Hari Sri Gaura Hari Sahi Goshta Bihari Nanda Jasomati Chitahari Dhira Damodara Ishaye Kana Bhoga Mandire Basi Karaha Bojana Nandirani Deshi Bashi Giri Baradari Baladeva Saha Saka Vaise Sari Sari Shukta Shakhari Vaji Lalita Kushmanda Dalidana Dugda Tumi Dadi Mocha Kanda Mudabora Mash Boda Roti Kabritana Daskuli Pista Kakir Kuli Payasana Kapura Amrita Keli Ramba Kirashara Amrita Rasalanga Gadasha Pakora Sabali Bhojana kore na Krishna hoye kutuhali Radhikara pakayana bibida byanjana Paramayanande Krishna kore na bhojana Chale bale ladu khai Sri Madhu Mangala Bagala bajaya Deya Hari Bolo Radhikari Gani Hari Nayane Rakone Ripta hoye khai Krishna Jasoda Bhavani Bhojanande Priya Krishna Subhasita Bari Sabe mukha prakaloy Hore sari sari Asta mukha prakaliya Jata sakagane Anande vishrama kore Baladeva sane Jambula rasalane Tambula masala Tahake Krishna Chandra Suke nidradela Vishalaka Shiki Pucha Chamara Dulaya Apurva Sayaya Krishna Suke nirayaya Yasomati Anga Priye Danishtaya Nito Sri Krishna Prasad Radha Unje Hoye Prito Lalitari Saki Gana Avashesha Paya Mane Mane Sukhe Radha Krishna Guna Gaya Hari Lila Ekamatra Jahara Pamoda Bhogarati Gai Thakur Bhakti Vinoda Bhajapa Kata Vatsala Sri Gaura Hari Bhajapa Kata Vatsala Sri Gaura Hari Sri Gaura Hari Sahi Gosta Bihari Sri Gaura Hari Sahi Gosta Bihari Nanda Dasomati Chita Hari Nanda Dasomati Chita Hari Bhaja Govinda Govinda Gopala Bhaja Govinda Govinda Gopala bhave Vijamani gaura yamani jage Bhakta samuha lohi asate Jila nagara braje Bhakta samuha lohi asate Jila nagara braje Tathai tathai bhaja lokos Ghana ghana chahe janjaro জয় গোবিন্দ জয় গোপাল কেশব মাধব দীন দীন দয়াল প্রভু দীন দয়াল দীন দয়াল প্রভু দীন দয়াল
Jaya Gopal Keshav Madhava Dina Dayal Jaya Govinda Jaya Gopal Keshav Madhava Dina Dayal Shama Sundar Manayalal Giri Nandalal Shama Sundar Manayalal Giri Nandalal Jaya Govinda Jaya Gopal Keshav Madhava Dina Dayal Gopala Hari Achyuta Keshava Sri Radha Madhava Govinda Gopala Hari Jamuna Purina me Banshi Vajao me Nata Baradesh